And that's when I had my Jerry Maguire moment. Now, I'm sure I'm dating myself with this movie, but all my 90s babies can remember. You remember the movie Jerry Maguire where Tom Cruise had a bad slice of pizza and a nightmare and all of a sudden he grew a conscience, right? He woke up and he began to write what he called his mission statement, which he filled with ideas of why his industry had become so tainted and how the answer was less clients, less money, more caring. And so I was inspired to write my own mission statement. Because if we don't put our intentions out into the world, guys, then how can we be held accountable for our purpose in life? And so I wrote and I wrote and I wrote and I couldn't stop writing. It was crazy. It was like I was injecting the antidote to all the poison that club put out into the world.
Yeah, culture is everything. And as you mentioned, the team is everything. And that's really the backbone of the idea of culture.
These are peaches. This is an apple. And you called a peach an apple because you were programmed for the last few minutes to expect that apple. And that's what labels do. And you all just made a mistake, right? But it's okay. Don't worry. It's okay because we're about to disrupt the concept of mistakes. So from now on, mistake equals practice. Everybody say it.
Mistake equals practice.
Right.
What are your goals? What are your expectations for this job? Are you happy? Are you unhappy? What are your personal goals? Why are you here? If you're complaining and you have a bad attitude at work because I'm not making enough money, why do you feel you should be making more money? Mm-hmm. And what are you going to bring to the table to make more money?
And I really became a person when I was not a family. That was the biggest thing for me. I developed a really big ego and thought, I was the best thing since sliced bread. And come to find, we're all replaceable, and we're not necessarily special unless we decide to stand out in the right way.
Now, in the cheap seats back there, in case you can't see it, that's 2 beers in one hand. That's what we call, affectionately, a double fister. And what may possibly be the first ever duck lips photo in known history. Now, this guy's not even a big drinker, but he thought that this photo deserved just an extra dose of schmuck. That's why he had the 2 beers in his hand. I'm going to skip past the bad parts here. Divorced, jobless, depressed. A shell of who he had planned to be. Now, at this point, you've probably noticed that I've been referring to myself as he and that guy. That's because that wasn't me. I don't know this guy. That was a whole other guy. A guy that fell so far from the path that he had always imagined himself to go on, that one day he realized that his potential future was all in his imagination. And he did nothing to make it a reality. Now enter the disruption. Because my point today is to not only broaden your mind on how you look at physical things like apples, but also to broaden your mind on the idea that disruption is limited to industries. As long as we have good intentions, we have the right to disrupt anything. And that includes ourselves and our self-image.
And I was finally starting to get it. And it was weird because now all of a sudden, I couldn't understand corporate greed anymore. I couldn't understand why so many people could be so greedy still. To the point where I started coming up with ideas where I could help with this.
So I think when you look at mentors and realize that you need to put out that positivity as a person in this world and make sure that if somebody considers you a mentor, that you're putting out the right vibe to help people.
It's a start, and if we could take one person and change their mind and force them to make a good decision, that's a start, and we have to start somewhere.
Now, I can't give you the recipe for successful disruption. And sadly, there's no secret sauce that you add to innovation that will give you unopposed disruption. But what I can give you is hope. The hope that if you put your all into it, if you care about something so much that you passionately disrupt the rules in an effort to positively change an idea, then you will innovate. You will rise. You might change the world.
And lastly, be creative until you're not. And this is important. Be creative hard. Do not think about limitations when you are trying to be creative. But when you don't feel that spark anymore, when that spark is dim, just walk away. Because creativity that we force really becomes work.
So I'm going to ask you guys one last time. And I promise that this isn't a trick question. What is this? Exactly. This is an apple. And the goal of this talk wasn't to change your perspective on this apple. It was to open your mind. Now, this is most definitely an apple. But that doesn't mean that an apple most definitely has to be this.
In order to undo so many bad things, we have to start by doing right, and we could start doing right today.